Hey there, and a big welcome. This guide comes to you from the tax specialists over at My Tax Accountant. Today, we're going to demystify an acronym that pops up on final paychecks and causes a ton of confusion. PILON, that's Payment in Lieu of Notice. We're going to break down exactly what it means for your taxes, your pension, and your finances.
All right, let's set the scene. Your job is ending, you get your final paperwork, and you see this weird acronym, PILON. What on earth is that? Is it some kind of last-minute bonus, or is it a tax trap just waiting to spring? That's what we're here to figure out. So here's the game plan for today. We'll start with what Pylon actually is. Then we'll tackle the big questions on tax and pensions. We'll also see how it stacks up against other payouts, give you some practical steps, and finally, we'll bust some common myths.
Okay, first up, let's get right down to the basics. What exactly is Pylon? So, to put it really simply, payment in lieu of notice is when your boss pays you for your notice period, but you don't actually have to work it. Say you've got a 1-month notice. Well, you get that month's pay, but your last day could literally be today. It's a clean break for the company, and for you, it means you've got money coming in straight away.
Okay, pro tip time, and this one is absolutely crucial. Your employment contract is everything. Seriously, before you do anything else, dig it out and have a look at the bit about termination and notice periods. The way it's worded in there can change the whole shebang, how your final pay, your benefits, and even your pension gets handled.
All right, let's dive into the big one, tax. This is where most of the confusion around Pylon comes from, so let's get this cleared up once and for all.
You've probably heard about that £30,000 tax-free limit, right? It's for things like statutory redundancy pay. So it kind of makes sense to think, hey, this big final payment, this Pylon, maybe that's tax-free too. It seems logical.
Well, I've got some news for you. Back in the day, you might have been right, but HMRC changed the rules back in April 2018. Now, Pylon is fully taxable. No exceptions, no loopholes. And that means for this tax year, 2025-26, every single penny is subject to income tax and national insurance. Now stay with me. This next point is where most people get caught out, and it's really important to understand why this changed.
The reason is something called post-employment notice pay, or PENP for short. You can think of it as a formula that HMRC uses. They brought it in to make sure that no matter how an exit package is put together, the bit that's for your notice period, the part you didn't work, always gets taxed just like your normal salary.
Okay, so we've sorted out tax. But what about your retirement pot? Does your Pylon payment help build up your pension?
And the short answer here is probably not. Yeah, in most cases, your Pylon payment is not pensionable. This means neither you nor your employer is putting anything into your pension from that amount, and that can leave a gap. Just think, if your Pylon is, say, $4,000 and your total pension contribution is 8%, that's a £320 shortfall in your pension pot right there.
So why isn't it pensionable? Well, it really comes down to how pension schemes work. They're built for your regular, monthly salary, not for one-off payments like this. HMRC sees it as taxable earnings, sure, but not as a pensionable benefit. The only time this changes, and you're probably guessing what I'm about to say, is if your contract explicitly says pension contributions will be made on it.
Right, let's move on. It's important to remember that Pylon is often just one piece of the puzzle. To really get a handle on what you're getting, you need to see how it compares to other common payouts.
One of the big ones you'll hear about is garden leave. They sound similar, but they're very different. With Pylon, your job ends immediately. Boom, you're done. But with garden leave, you're still an employee. You get your normal pay, your benefits continue, your pension gets paid into, you just don't have to go to work. Why would a company do that? Well, it's often to keep you from running straight to a competitor.
And this table here just brilliantly illustrates the differences. You can see it clear as day. Pylon is for unworked notice, and it's always taxed. Statutory redundancy, that's for losing your job, and it's tax-free up to $30,000. And garden leave is just like being paid normally, taxed and pensionable.
Okay, that's enough theory. So the crucial point is knowing what to do with all this information. Let's get practical.
So if you're the one getting a Pylon payment, here's a super simple 3-step checklist for you. Number 1, find that contract. Read the fine print on termination. Number 2, when you get your final payslip, actually look at it. Find the Pylon amount and just double check that tax and NI deductions seem right. And number 3, think about that pension gap we talked about. You might want to make a voluntary contribution yourself to fill it.
And what if you're an employer? Maybe you're a small business owner in London watching this right now. Here are your 3 key actions.
First, make sure you calculate that PENP thing correctly. It's key for compliance. Second, document everything. Give a clear, itemized breakdown in the final letter. And third, just be clear. Explain how tax and pensions are being handled. It'll save you a world of headaches and disputes later on.
Okay, last section. Let's debunk some common myths. That's not all. Here's where most people go wrong. We hear this one all the time. Someone will say, well, my contract doesn't actually mention Pylon, so any payment I get for my notice period must be tax-free, right? It's like compensation.
Myth busted. Nope, sorry. Remember those PENP rules we talked about? They were created for this exact situation. It doesn't matter what your contract says or what it doesn't say. If a payment is for an unworked notice period, HMRC is going to tax it. End of story.
Look, I get it. It's a lot to take in. Termination packages can be really complex, and the rules around Pylon and PEMP, they can be pretty tricky to figure out by yourself.
But the good news is, you don't have to. For expert one-on-one advice, the team at My Tax Accountant are the people to talk to. Whether you're an employer trying to stay compliant, or you're an employee just trying to figure out your final pay, they can give you the clarity you need. You can get in touch with them on WhatsApp, or give them a call on 07854 255 375, or just drop them an email.
I really hope this guide has helped demystify Pylon for you. For more easy-to-understand breakdowns of UK tax stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button for the My Tax Accountant YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching.